When most new players first see 1 elixir cards, they immediately think these cards are completely useless and weak. And honestly, I totally get why they feel that way. If you had to choose between a massive Mega Knight and 3 tiny skeletons, of course you're going to pick the Mega Knight every single time. 1 elixir cards don't look impressive at all. They don't seem overpowered, and frankly, it doesn't look like they can do much of anything in battle. Even when you check out their stats, they appear incredibly weak. But here's the thing. Somehow, everyone keeps using them. So what exactly makes them so incredibly strong? That's exactly what we're going to explore today. By the time we're done, you'll see 1 elixir cards in a completely different light. But here's what the vast majority of players don't realize. These seemingly tiny, worthless cards have actually been the secret backbone of every single game-changing strategy for the past 8 years. Every championship-winning deck, every pro player's go-to arsenal, every meta-defining combo has been built around these cards that look like they can't do anything. But what if I told you that the reason they're so incredibly powerful has absolutely nothing to do with what most people think? Because the real secret isn't just that they're cheap to play, it's that they actually exploit 4 fundamental weaknesses in how Clash Royale's core mechanics work. And once you understand this, you'll finally realize why Supercell has been desperately trying to nerf these cards for 8 straight years and has failed every single time. Let's take a trip back to when Clash Royale first launched. The game began with exactly 42 cards total, but only one single card cost 1 elixir, the skeletons, and they looked quite different back then. This meant decks were significantly more expensive overall. There weren't any quick tricks to cycle through your deck rapidly, no cheap ways to reset attacking troops, and players had to make do with whatever expensive cards they had. Tons of decks didn't even bother including skeletons because, let's be honest, why would you want to? They looked absolutely terrible on paper. Just 4 little skeletons that would get destroyed immediately by almost anything. But then some clever players began figuring out that cheaper cards let you get back to your main damage-dealing cards way faster than your opponents could. Skeletons were perfect for this cycling strategy, but that wasn't even their most powerful ability. Here's what made them truly special. They could distract enemy troops. This meant your tower could keep shooting at enemies while the skeletons kept them busy. And for just 1 elixir, this was incredible value. Your opponent drops a P.E.K.K.A., a 7 elixir card that's going to demolish your tower, but all you need to do is place your skeletons correctly. Because of the P.E.K.K.A.'s slow attack speed, it takes her 7.2 seconds to clear all the skeletons. That's a massive +6 positive elixir trade, and back then, this was revolutionary. But the skeletons weren't going to stay alone for long. Fire Spirits made their debut on May 3rd, 2016, but they worked completely differently than today. Back then, you got 3 Fire Spirits for 2 elixir, not 1 spirit for 1 elixir. They worked like mobile zap spells, dealing quick area damage to clear swarms. They could even destroy Minion Horde, which Zap couldn't do at the time. But unlike Zap, which hits instantly, Fire Spirits had to run to their destination first. This made them unreliable, which is why their usage rate became quite low. Then Supercell added the Ice Spirit in July 2016, and this little guy was completely broken when he first came out. For just 1 elixir, the Ice Spirit could freeze all enemy troops and towers for a full 2 seconds. Unlike Fire Spirits, it was tough enough to survive most counters. It could take a direct hit from Zap and still freeze everything. For 1 elixir, you could completely shut down a 15 elixir push for 2 full seconds. Your opponent could spend their entire elixir bar building a massive push, and you could stop it with a card that costs almost nothing. The developers had to nerf this card multiple times, and it's still one of the strongest cards today. They reduced its freeze duration from 2 seconds to 1.1 seconds, almost a 50% nerf. They decreased its damage by 4%, and it's still dominating the meta. But then in April 2017, Supercell made what might be the biggest mistake in Clash Royale history. They tried to create another 1 elixir card, and it went so wrong that they had to delete it from the game entirely. The heal spell entered the game costing 3 elixir, and developers thought it would revolutionize support gameplay. Instead, it became one of the most poorly designed cards ever. The heal spell was useless in 99% of situations. Players struggled to find any scenario where spending 3 elixir on healing was worth it. There was one exception, 3 musketeers. When they got hit by Fireball, they'd survive with tiny health, but heal spell could bring them back to full health, making them nearly impossible to counter. So developers nerfed it so hard that its usage rate dropped to exactly 0%. They tried to save it in 2019 by dropping the cost to 1 elixir, but it remained at 0% usage. Eventually, they deleted it entirely. In its place, they created the Heal Spirit, a troop that worked like Ice Spirit but healed allies instead of freezing enemies. When it first came out, it was way too strong, providing almost twice the healing value of the old 1 elixir heal spell. Then, in October 2020, they released the Electro Spirit. It was almost identical to Ice Spirit but brought something new, Chain Lightning. Instead of affecting one target, it could jump between multiple enemies, hitting up to 9 targets in a single attack. It could stun multiple troops simultaneously and was much more reliable for resetting buildings like Inferno Tower, because it could chain from troop to troop until reaching its target. Then in July 2021, they completely reworked Fire Spirits. The card went from 3 weak spirits, costing 2 elixir, to a single powerful spirit, costing 1 elixir. They increased its hit points by 109% and boosted its damage by 6%. 1 Fire Spirit became as strong as the original 3 combined. So now we had 5 different 1 elixir cards, each with their own abilities. But here's what most players don't understand. The real reason these cards are so powerful has nothing to do with their individual abilities. There are exactly 4 reasons why 1 elixir cards have dominated Clash Royale for 8 years. Pillar 1. Cycling speed. While your opponent plays expensive cards and waits to get back to their key cards, you're cycling through your deck twice as fast. You can play Hog Rider, then immediately cycle back to another, while they're still trying to get back to their counter. Pillar 2. Risk management. If you misplace a Mega Knight, you wasted 7 elixir and probably lost the game. If you misplace skeletons, you only wasted 1 elixir. Because the risk is so low, you can apply constant pressure without fear. Pillar 3. Value efficiency. An Ice Spirit can shut down a 15 elixir push. Skeletons can counter a 7 elixir P.E.K.K.A. Fire Spirit can clear minion horde. These aren't filler cards. They're efficient solutions to expensive problems. Even if you only get 50% value, you're still breaking even. Pillar 4. Constant pressure. Your opponent never gets a break. Every few seconds, there's another 1 elixir threat. They can't ignore them because damage adds up, but they can't overcommit because that's what you want. This forces constant micro-decisions, and every decision is a chance to make a mistake. But everything I just explained was before the evolution system. When evolutions were introduced, 1 elixir cards went from overpowered to completely game-breaking. Evolutions are enhanced versions that become available after playing the original card multiple times. Decks focused on cheap cycling could get evolutions active much quicker than expensive decks. You could spam evolutions constantly, while opponents were still trying to get their first evolution online. 2 1 elixir cards got their own evolutions. Evolved Ice Spirit could freeze enemies multiple times, becoming 3 Ice Spirits in 1. Evolved Skeletons spawned additional skeletons when they attack, creating an endless swarm. But everything changed when Supercell introduced dual evolution slots in April 2024. Suddenly, you could combine evolved damage dealers with evolved support cards simultaneously. Evolved Ice Spirit usage rates exploded across all competitive levels. But here's what's actually insane. Despite being nerfed constantly for 8 years, these cards are still dominating. And there's a specific reason why Supercell can't fix them. Why? Because the fundamental advantages, cycling speed, risk management, value efficiency, and constant pressure, can't be nerfed away without completely changing what these cards do. Supercell knows they're overpowered, but they can't fix them without breaking the entire game. But there's one more broken aspect: psychological warfare. When you face a Mega Knight, your brain recognizes the threat. When you see skeletons, your brain says ignore them. That's exactly what skilled players want. While you're focused on big threats, these tiny cute cards are setting up the perfect counterattack. Pro players have mastered this. They'll drop skeletons in one lane to make you think about defending there, then immediately punish the opposite lane. The constant stream of small threats creates decision fatigue. Every few seconds, you make a choice about responding to another 1 elixir card. Every decision is a chance to make a costly mistake. This is why facing skilled 1 elixir players feels mentally exhausting. The next time someone tells you 1 elixir cards are low skill, remember that mastering these cards and understanding their true power is what separates pros from everyone else. As Clash Royale continues evolving, one truth remains constant. 1 elixir cards are and always will be overpowered. If this completely changed how you think about 1 elixir cards, make sure to subscribe because we're breaking down the hidden secrets behind every card and strategy in the game. Drop a comment. Which 1 elixir card do you think is most broken? And have you been using these psychological tactics? Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where we're diving into another Clash Royale secret. most players never discover.